Bo, we need to talk about Nigel Fragile once more. Okay. Or what was the Islamist name?
Nigel Farage.
Yeah, Nigel Farage. I can't. Anyways, hilarious. Look, I digress. Nigel Farage, he is Tory reincarnate. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
The prisons thing.
Yes, the prisons thing. Yeah. Heavily comical. He has basically he's come under fire because in his own prison announcement, he was like, "Yeah, it's going to be a case-by-case basis for letting men in women's prisons." And then he's like, "I've never supported men in women's prisons." It's like, Nigel, mate, it was literally just yesterday. Like, Nigel, it was yesterday. It was Nigel. It's all on video, mate. It was yesterday. What are you doing? So a few things, I guess, to sort of dissect here for anyone watching, to those watching, is that Nigel Farage and Reform allowed in even more Tory defectors, which is what this is all based off. So one of them was like an ex-prison governor, and someone else. Basically, these people will be advising Reform on how they're going to do their policies and things like this. I will say this: kudos to Reform, I guess, for finally starting to form some kind of operation ish, maybe. I mean, it's the basis of it. It's starting to form. I mean, it's weak as piss, but it's starting to form. And in this thread, because he's being torn apart, obviously. So in it is here.
Women in prisons. Isn't it interesting that we run our country with people who become ministers, who generally have absolutely no idea of the subject matter that they're talking about? I've personally never worked in a prison, so I can't answer it. But I think you'll find that the answer that you'll get from somebody who has worked in prisons at the highest possible level is, I think, basically it's about risk assessment, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we all know what the law is.
I thought you'd want to jump in there. Just thought I'd stop it there.
Yeah, you don't need to have worked in a prison to know that you don't let men pretending to be women in a women's prison. You don't need to have worked in a prison for that. It's not about that. You don't need someone who's an ex-governor to tell you that. Yeah, I mean, it's not about risk assessment. I mean, it's not about that. It's about a broader, much bigger principle, isn't it? You shouldn't have to make any risk assessment because you're not letting any men into women's prisons.
It's nonsense. It's nonsense. We'll watch a little bit more because we'll see what this individual said.
I'm not going to go back over that yet again, but to my mind, everybody who is in prison deserves to be treated with humanity and decency.
I'll stop you there. No, not everyone that's in prison deserves to be treated with humanity and decency. A lot of prisoners shouldn't even be alive, actually, quite frankly. And if the majority of the British public had their way, the death penalty would be reinstated. It's a hugely popular thing in the UK. Whenever polled, the majority of Brits want the death penalty to come back. So no, animals, barbarians, savages, no, shouldn't be treated with humanity and decency. Certainly not the humanity and decency which they haven't afforded to their victims. So no, actually, no.
Someone like that Axel Rudy Kapitana or whatever his name is, someone like Ian Huntley, in a sane society, they would be put down. Yeah. So I don't agree with Miss Trunchbull there at all.
Oh dear. Well, again, what do you expect from Tories? Right? That's what these are. So Well, again, watch a little bit more just because it's interesting.
And that includes female prisoners, and it includes trans prisoners. You know, everything in the prison service is risk assessed. And I am sure that the prison service will tie itself up in knots over the trans issue, just like many other public sectors have. And as Nigel said earlier, you know, we are at the beginning, and that is something that we will need to speak about clearly.
Yeah, but in terms of the problems in prisons, it's a relatively small one.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Tenny Diver, tell him.
We don't need to be at the beginning. We can very quickly be at the end of this, can't we? If you just had some balls and a moral compass and just said, no one that was born a man will ever set foot in a women's prison. It's so simple. But yeah, as you say, actually... these are Tories, and in other words, you know, like early 20th century Tories. So liberals, Lib Dems, to all intents and purposes.
Yeah, 100%. And now, obviously, so you're completely right. Is one, the prison service doesn't need to tie itself in knots over this at all. It can just be like, no, this is how it is. Like it or lump it. And if you don't like it, don't break the law. That just is what it is. Okay. If you didn't break the law, you wouldn't be doing this. You wouldn't be in this situation. So deal with it. And also, like, what annoyed me about the end of that speech there from, well, not speech, but the sort of end of the interaction from Nigel there is, as he says, you know, oh, it's a relatively small thing. You know, it's a relatively small thing. It's like, yes, okay, but that's the litmus test for everything else that you're going to be doing, Nigel. That alone can be the litmus test for how weak and pathetic you are on everything. Because if you can't come down on the small things, the small issues, as you put it, right, on the right side of it as well, then what are you going to do on the big issues like mass remigration that absolutely demonstrably needs to happen? It has to happen. What are you going to do? Oh, you're not going to do anything, are you? You're just going to capitulate to everyone and everything because you are a Tory, right? He is establishment. He is Tory light. He is the Tories reincarnated. That is what reform is. It's a vehicle, and I it's just a guess, but it's an educated one based on all of their actions. They've been allowed to rise up. The establishment hasn't crushed them. They've allowed to continue because it's now a vehicle from the establishment to continue the leftist policies of the Tories. And if anyone watching this doesn't think the Tories is a leftist, you're an idiot, because of course they are.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There is a reason why the mainstream media, or even the establishment, whatever that means, people know, don't we, really? The reason why they haven't gone after reform hell for leather to absolutely stamp them out and crush them out and burn them out is exactly what you said. I completely agree with your take there. It's because they know that should Nigel form a government in a few years' time, we'll get more of the same. It will still be essentially uniparty. There might be the odd thing here or there where they don't completely get their way, where the WEF don't completely get their way. Small things around the edges, maybe not even that, but let's say that. Let's be generous with that. But on the biggest things, like demographic replacement and capitulation to Islam, they're not going to do anything, it seems to me. They've made no noises that are credible that they're going to. Well, in fact, they get rid of anyone that is too hardline. You know, like Rupert, like, they tried to destroy him and put him in prison, right? So,
yeah, they've done the express opposite. In fact, you know, Nigel saying that no, we can't alienate Muslims, and you know, we'll lose, and blah blah blah. So yeah, you're just a coward. Shut up, go away. You're a coward. You're an absolute loser. You're a coward. You don't have the stones. You don't have the balls for this, Nigel. Much like those men you're putting in women's prisons, they actually do have balls. So just give it up, mate. Just give it up. Now, obviously, he's been torn apart for all of this, destroyed. Obviously, you're imploding. Can't work out for the life of me what you're playing at. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out, but all right. Rupert Lowe, you did yesterday. So yeah, you literally said the opposite yesterday. Me chiming in there. Because he tweeted this out. It's like, oh, Supreme Court rules that the definition of woman refers to blah, 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 victory for common sense. Nigel, you can tweet this crap out all you like. But what you actually do and what you say, consistently, that's the sum of your parts, mate. That's what you are. And consistently, you're a loser. You keep capitulating to these absolute lunatics. I've never supported men in women's prisons. Why didn't you just say that yesterday then? Why didn't you just say it yesterday at the press conference? Why didn't you just say, no, of course not? That's stupid.